Well, good day, people. I actually had told myself I wasn't going to make a video today, but I have to. So, there's a huge misconception in society as a whole, thanks to pop culture and media and those who control the narrative. We seem to think that we don't have trauma issues as humans. There's also this misconception that children can't be traumatized before a certain age, which there's actually scientific studies over the last 20 years that prove that completely wrong, to the point where they've actually done even studies on, like, historical studies, say for instance, when not the Cold War, when the Nazis invaded, was it Norway or Holland? I forget the exact place, but there was a group of people there that they were starved, right? Sorry, my brain is somewhere else right now. I have to look up the facts up. Help me out, historians. Okay, so, but they were starved, these people, and historically, if you follow the trends of their descendants, you will see an evolutionary change where their bodies actually become more prone to getting diabetic because their mothers were starved when the infants were in the womb. Those children have this disposition to, like, eat food, and their bodies will naturally store it and make it fat reserves instead of actually using it, right, for other stuff because of the trauma. And so that was one actual physical thing they could study, but they've also done other studies. There was one with Quebec where mothers were without hydro, I forget, like 10 days or something. It was an epic storm, right, back in the 90s. The 90s? Again, I can't think of this right now. My brain's somewhere else. But the thing is that trauma can happen in the womb at a very early age, in a really early stage of the womb, right? The brain is one of the first things that develops, that your sensory input, your processing information. Good news is there's a lot of theories that the actual soul, the energy, kind of hops in and out while it's in fetal stage and doesn't actually stick to the body till later. So that's a possibility, which maybe the soul doesn't necessarily feel the trauma, but the body, the growing body still does. So I made a comment just for fun yesterday on a post, and it honestly made me kind of sad because, it made me really sad because it just kind of shows me where society is at right now. Anyone who might have understood why I made the comment I did probably wasn't even watching that post. They're probably vibing at a completely different level. But I'm seeing these posts because, I've been told that I need to be willing to share my ideas even though they're not going to agree with most of mass society's concepts of what is acceptable. And so I made a comment, and they were talking about disciplining children, right? People who are over permissive. And that is a thing, I'm sure, where people are over permissive with their kids. But you can't over love a child, first of all. I remember I used to fight with my ex's parents and him as well. They thought I could spoil my kids by giving them too much love, right? Too much hugs, too much holding, too much. I never understood that concept. You can't over love a child, just so you know. You can't. But so I don't really understand that whole permissive thing unless you're letting your children intentionally do naughty things, you know what I mean, without showing them the consequences of their naughty things. And you can show children consequences without actually punishing them. It is a thing. And trust me, it's hard even for me to kind of grasp it because I wasn't raised that way. But you can do it. And you have to unlearn so many patterns. It's a lot. Like, okay, as an example, yesterday I was extremely tired, and at the end of the day it was like 10:30, and I tried to get the kids ready for bed, and just everything kerfuffled, and because I'm sleepy and not totally there, nothing worked out. It was almost midnight, okay, by the time everyone gets to bed, and by then I'm losing my mind. And then my oldest starts snapping at my youngest, and then I start snapping at my oldest, and I'm like, you can't keep yelling. And I'm like, but I'm yelling. She's like, yeah, where did I learn it from? And I'm like, oh crap. So I owned the moment, and I explained why I was yelling. I let her explain why she was yelling, and I said, okay, well, we all have to do better and stop yelling. So we're not perfect, okay? I don't expect people to be perfect, but I do expect people to not be so blind. And this is where I mean we need a mass shift in society's perception. We seem to think that children can't be traumatized. We seem to think that there isn't a mass amount of children being traumatized every day. 1 in 3 kids, if you were to take a global, not just like North America, so it's like between 1 in 3, 1 in 4, depending which statistics you want to go to, and if you want to group the boys and girls together or not, but they are sexually assaulted by somebody in their family or someone close to their family before the age of 8. So people out there who think that kids who are traumatized are a special case, the reason why you feel that way is because someone told you that. And I don't know who told you that, and I don't know why you blindly believed that, but I suggest you question it. Why do you believe that kids can't be traumatized? Why do you believe that the kids who are traumatized are special cases? Why do we believe that isolating our children and locking them in rooms alone at small ages like 3 doesn't traumatize them? Why do we think letting babies cry it out doesn't cause trauma? They can actually prove it with neuroscans, the difference in how brains develop between children who are cared for and those who are neglected. And they actually have shown that the damage to the brain from neglect and lack of physical affection can be almost as damaging or more so than other types of abuse. This is why I'm sad, because as a society, we've believed this narrative, yet we have all the proof, if we just look, to show us the narrative is false. Children are being abused. Children are being traumatized. That's why we're growing up to have adults who are not adults, who are still trapped in that hurt child mode, because they are still hurt children. They're not healed. They're not integrated adults. They can't be. They weren't raised by adults. So we are raising more children who cannot finish developing because they don't have an example of how to develop, because we're not teaching people to ask why. Why am I believing this blindly? Why am I blindly believing this narrative? Why do I think children aren't actual tiny humans who can have human experiences just like myself, just at a different perception level? Learn from animals, right? Animals don't just assume that the baby can't do anything for itself. Yes, human beings are different. Our infants, we are mammals. As a mammal, we're really strange. You know what I mean? We're almost like marsupials. Why are our infants so helpless when they're born compared to other mammals? I couldn't tell you. Other than maybe as humans, we're so slow in understanding the bond we need to form with each other, that if we didn't have that, maybe we wouldn't connect with our kids. Maybe that's why, because we do seem a little slow on the uptake of needing human connection and properly loving each other without needing to punish you because you're making me work harder, and I don't want to work harder. I just want you to do what I say, so I'm going to punish you, and it's going to be all good because now you're doing exactly what I want, and I have less to do and less to feel and less to think about. Yeah, that sounds great, because that's going to help everybody get bigger, stronger, grow, learn, develop, create adults who don't abuse each other. Just saying. Don't you guys feel like this world needs a change? Don't you feel like it's time to stop treating each other like high school kids? My mommy taught me better than your mommy. Yeah, well, my daddy can beat you up. Come on, guys. Stop thinking that everything you hear and see from an authority figure is the answer. Start asking why. Because if 1 in 3 kids are being sexually assaulted before the age of 8, and the whole mass narrative is that children are not traumatized or abused and they're only the special cases out there, yet statistics show it's a lie, yet that's a huge belief, we got a problem, wouldn't you say? Anyways, have a great day. I'm gonna go now. Goodbye.